intestine in Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. Come on down. Bunch up. We're amongst family and friends here. It enables us to turn the volume down. I think it's too loud now. It's too loud? It's okay. At the back, how's the sound? All good? Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Is that me? No. Day 329. I mean, just extraordinary. Week 47. Thank you all so very much for continuing to come out. You're proving all of the doubters wrong, that people would forget about Palestine. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, and I know it's tiring, but imagine what it's like for a Palestinian in Gaza. Whenever you're feeling a little bit low, imagine what it's like for somebody in Gaza. Imagine what it's like for a father on Father's Day. Our Palestinian fathers that are having children birthed and dying in this period. Draw on that strength to continue to show up. Continue to show up. It's Father's Day, and for Palestinians it's been increasingly hard for us to celebrate anything. Whatever that might be, whatever Eid or celebration that might be, as Palestinians it's impossible for us to celebrate whilst our people are being genocided. But here I want to talk a moment about Father's Day and about Palestinian fathers, because the media keeps saying about innocent women and children, suggesting that our men are not innocent. Palestinian men, shame absolutely, Palestinian men are innocent. Palestinian men are heroes. Palestinian men are filled with love. Palestinian men are filled with love and dignity and hope and deserve every bit of humanity as anyone else on this earth. Anyone else. And those Palestinian men that are at the forefront of the Civil Defence Service, that are digging up the bones and the bodies of their family members, are as heroic as our Palestinian men who fight in the resistance. All power to them. We hear too often about Israel's right to exist. Let's be clear, Israel does not have a right to exist. Palestinians have a right to exist. Palestinians have a right to resist. Palestinians have a right to justice and to fight for their right to live freely on their land. Palestinians have the right, not Israel. My friends, a timely reminder, we are here on this continent on stolen land. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. They are not traditional owners, they are the owners. I'd urge each and every one of you, when you do an acknowledgement, try to get rid of that word traditional. Try to get rid of that word traditional. It suggests something like in a past context. They always were and always will be the owners. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be.
Always will be.
Always will be, sister. A little bit out of time, but we love you. This continent knows no bounds in the violence that it will exert on its First Peoples, on anybody of colour. We witnessed that this past week, with the suicide of 2 Indigenous youths. Shame. We're witnessing that in the Northern Territory, where we had the most racist of elections, where they're going to start criminalising 10-year-olds. It should be no surprise to anyone here that 100% of the children incarcerated in the Northern Territory are Indigenous. These rules are about oppressing our First Nations people. Shame. It also, we've got a Tamil speaker a little bit later. I might leave that bit till then and leave it for them. But this is an anti-racist, anti-colonial movement. There's no room for hate here, brothers and sisters. This space is a collective space for all our brothers and sisters, our siblings, however you identify, whatever your gender, whether you're black, brown, Christian, Muslim, Jew, whoever you are, whether you're able or not, if you're disabled, if you're deaf, if you're queer, whatever it is. This space is for you. This is about a world of tomorrow where we all live with dignity. We all live with that dignity that each of us is born with. Inalienable. We are all born with that. However, however you might look, and any system that privileges one, any system that privileges one over the other, whatever that might be, patriarchy, Zionism, white supremacy, whatever that might be, it should be extinguished and it doesn't belong in the world we want to build tomorrow. So thank you all for being here today.
Yes.
And the fight, whilst we remember, I'm just looking around for Zane. If you hear Zane, oh, here's Zane, perfect. All right. That this fight is a fight for all of us, but we want to remember all of our brothers and sisters and siblings wherever they are in their fight against colonialism, in their fight against genocide, whether that's in Sudan, or our Uyghur brothers and sisters in West Papua, in Western Sahara, here especially, to all our brothers and sisters all over this continent. The fight for Palestine is a fight for you. And thank you all for being here. We've seen during the week, in the past couple of weeks, the Labor Party show its true colours. The Labor Party, the party of the people, has decided to put a union into administration. A union change. I mean, this is the sort of stuff that would beg a belief. My father passed 18 years ago, a staunch unionist. He'd never believed that the Labor Party would put a union, a militant union, a union doing what unions are supposed to do. Fight for workers' rights, fight for justice for people, to be put into administration by a Labor government.
Shame!
Shame!
They didn't put the banks into administration. Yeah? When they were charging fees on dead people, they didn't put them into administration. Anyway, my friends, make welcome Zane Elcon, who's a carpenter. He works for an earth worker construction cooperative. Zane's been a rank and file member of the CFMEU for 10 years and is part of the newly formed Defend Unions, Defend the CFMEUs. Big round of applause for Zane. Come on, Zane.
Thank you, Nasser. Hello, comrades. My name's Zane. As mentioned, I'm a carpenter. I've been a rank and file CFMEU member for 10 years. I'm also a member of Socialist Alliance. I've been part of Earthworker Construction Co-op, and I'm also a member of the Climate Action Group Rising Tide. And shout out to the Climate Justice Bloc that's here today. I just need to clarify, I'm not speaking on behalf of the CFMEU today. I'm a member of this newly formed union and community group, Defend the Unions, Defend the CFMEU, and that's who I'm speaking on behalf of today. I want to acknowledge that the land we're on is part of the Kulin Nation, and the fight for Aboriginal land rights and self-determination is unfinished business with very clear parallels to the Palestinian cause. Right now, the CFMEU is being subjected to arguably the biggest attack on the trade union movement by a government in Australian history. Liberal and Labor have passed laws appointing a government administrator with dictatorial powers to take over our union. The administrator has sacked every elected CFMEU official in the country, and I can tell you some of those sacked were among the most vocal supporters of the Palestinian cause in our union. Those who have been sacked have no right of appeal, and if they resist or keep trying to organise, they can be fined $1 million and sent to jail for 2 years. This is not about bikies, and it is not about criminality. This is about smashing the strongest union to make sure the massive and growing gap between the tiny super rich minority and the workers keeps getting bigger, even whilst millions of workers can barely afford their mortgage or rent. The Palestinian hip-hop group DAM released a song many years ago, and forgive my Arabic, but the chorus goes, Min al-Habi, Anta al-Habi, Min al-Habi, Anta al-Habi. It's a song directed at the Israeli occupiers, and those words mean, who's the terrorist? You're the terrorist. Who's the terrorist? You're the terrorist. Well, I have a message for Anthony Albanese and Murray Watt and those in the ALP who would like to portray CFMEU members as criminals. Who's the criminal? You're the criminal. You want to find the criminals? Look in the mirror, Labour, look in the mirror. Because I'm pretty sure being an accessory to genocide, shipping weapons components to Israel in the middle of the mass murder of civilians is a bit more serious than any crime any CFMEU member is accused of. As we saw this week, the CFMEU, the union movement and the progressive community, they showed they won't take this authoritarian takeover of the CFMEU lying down. Tens of thousands of people downed tools across the country and showed that they are ready to stand up and fight back. I believe if we can harness the outrage, harness the people power and get organised, we can win. And when we win, when we get rid of that administrator and get those anti-union laws torn up, that will be a win for all workers. It's going to energise progressive politics and the union movement as a whole. We will be emboldened to get on the front foot about public housing and climate action, land rights, welcoming refugees, solidarity with Palestine, which means dismantling the war machine, stopping the weapons exports, cancelling those nuclear submarines. And Nasser Mashni has made this point well. When Palestine wins back its sovereignty, its self-determination, off the back of a global people power movement, this is going to energise progressive politics on a global scale. This will be a powerful victory that sends an earthquake through the global divide between rich and poor, between coloniser and colonised. It will be a victory for the 99% and a big blow against empire. So please keep an eye out for Defender Unions, Defender CFMEU. Come and get involved. We need all hands on deck. And I know there are many in and around Defender Unions who will keep doing our best to support the Palestinian cause, because our struggles are linked. We are fighting the same scumbags. Dare to struggle, dare to win, from Nam to Gaza to Jenin. Dare to struggle, dare to win, from Nam to Gaza to Jenin. Dare to struggle, dare to win, from Nam to Gaza to Jenin. Dare to struggle, dare to win, from Nam to Gaza to Jenin. Thank you very much, brother.
Excellent speaking, Zane. Quoting NASA, that'll get you a big round of applause. Another big round for Zane.
When workers are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When workers are under attack? When unions are under attack? That's it. Union power! Come on. So often, so many people don't realise. They don't realise without a union, they'd still be crawling down a mine with a canary. No boss ever gave people rights and holidays and leave loading and safe conditions and protective equipment. No boss ever did that voluntarily, yeah? No boss ever did that voluntarily. If it wasn't for the unions, we'd still be digging with our hands with no holidays and no 8-hour weeks. So all power to all union movements. Thanks, Zane. Palestinians have asked for people of good conscience all over the world to boycott, divest and sanction. To boycott, divest and sanction. One of the biggest wins we've ever had was Intel deciding to cancel their $25 billion contract to build a smart centre in so-called Israel. That's huge, but that's at a company level, at an industrial level. But as a human, what can you do? I know you all know a lot of things you can do, but we've got a speaker now, Paddy O'Reilly, who is a Melbourne Naarm-based author of non-fiction and fiction. She's a regular participant in actions and rallies and is now focused on the Palestinian-led boycott and divestment campaign. She's going to tell you a little bit about our next campaign. Thanks, everybody. Big round of applause for Paddy.
Can everyone hear okay? I'd like to acknowledge the owners of this land. And thank them for all they've done to keep this country in the best best shape they can, and to acknowledge their elders, past and present, and the elders of any community, Indigenous communities that are here today. I'm here today to speak to you about one of the most despicable corporations on the planet. That corporation is Chevron. Some of you in the environment movement probably already know about Chevron. You would know that Chevron deliberately discharged over 16 billion gallons of cancer-causing toxic waste into the northern Ecuadorian Amazon. Oh, and they explained why they did it. A cost-saving measure. Shame. You would also know that Chevron was finally convicted in court and fined $9.5 billion, and 13 years later, it has not paid a cent. Altogether, Chevron has amassed more than $50 billion in judgments and settlement debts that the company refuses to pay. Chevron has refused to do mandated cleanup in Thailand, the USA, Argentina, Nigeria, Ecuador, Venezuela, Poland, Azerbaijan, Romania, Brazil, Burma, Cambodia, China, Timor-Leste, Myanmar and Ghana. It has said we will fight paying reparations until hell freezes over, and then we'll fight on the ice. So why am I talking about Chevron at a Palestine rally? Well, no surprise. This monster, Chevron, is also supporting genocide in occupied Palestine. Chevron's gas supplies the power for Israeli military bases, police stations and prisons where Palestinian hostages are incarcerated, tortured and raped to death. Chevron's gas provides electricity for the illegal settlements in the West Bank, their mansions and swimming pools and private roads, and for the vicious and violent settlers trying to drive out Palestinians. Huge tax revenues from Chevron's gas extraction off the coast of Palestine help to fund Israel's war machine. It's money that helps to pay for more weapons, more bombs, more fighter jets. Now, it's pretty obvious that all Chevron cares about is profit. And that's where you and I and your friends and family and everyone with a conscience comes in. The only way Chevron will stop supporting Israel's genocide is if it's bad for business. And you know what? We're going to make it bad for business. Here in Australia, Chevron sells fuel under the Caltex and Puma brands. Victoria is Caltex. We are going to stop buying fuel from Caltex. Boycott Caltex! Palestinians have called for a worldwide boycott, and that boycott is being driven by ordinary people who know that their leaders are not listening, but who also know that corporations only care about profit, and that means boycotts work. On the morning of Saturday, October 5th, around Australia, there will be rallies at Caltex service stations. These will be peaceful rallies, non-arrestable, and they'll be about creating awareness. There'll be banners and placards, leaflets, and bumper stickers. Please join the rallies. Speak to your local group about joining and follow Boycott Caltex on Instagram for updates. But until then, we each have a mission. Use your individual power. Do not buy Caltex fuel because Caltex fuels genocide. So I'm asking you, from today onwards, are you going to buy Caltex fuel? No! Say it again. Are you going to buy Caltex fuel? No! Are you going to let your family and friends buy Caltex fuel? No! Are you going to spread the word about boycotting Caltex fuel? Yes! We can do it. This is people power. We'll show Chevron that supporting Israel's genocide is bad for business. Say it after me. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Free Palestine.
We need to go louder. Boycott Caltex. Boycott Caltex. Fantastic. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
My friends, I had somebody else comment on my post. I don't ever engage with haters. Remember, the thing to do with your people that comment to, trolls is to block. Yeah? Block. But if anybody's got a problem with the chant from the river to the sea, for everyone to be free, the problem is not the chant. The problem is not the chant. The problem is with you, because you only want some of the people to be free. Yeah? From the river to the sea. Fantastic. Now, as I spoke earlier on about the violence of this state and how it manifests itself onto black and brown bodies, and we talked about very quickly about a couple of Indigenous young fellas that committed suicide in incarceration, about the Northern Territory's criminalisation laws, the apartheid in the Northern Territory for our Indigenous family. It also exhibited itself against a population, a community of refugees in Australia who have been suffering brutally. Our refugees that have been here, many of them from Sri Lanka, our Tamil brothers and sisters. We've got Rathi Badloti. Rathi is a Tamil refugee who arrived in Australia in 2012. She was a close friend of our brother Mano Youngalingham and his family, who tragically self-immolated and passed away in Dandenong this week. After enduring over 12 years, over 4,500 days on a bridging visa, he arrived as a 12-year-old. Never knowing security, never having access to Medicare, job rights, education. In an ultimate expression of fight against the oppression, he self-immolated, committed suicide. Shame. Rathi has been one of the key leaders of the refugee encampment for the past 49 days. As one of the key leaders of this movement, Rathi continues to advocate for the rights and dignity of over 9,000 refugees who are victims of this fast-track process. A big round of applause for Rathi. Welcome, Rathi.